Welcome to VendTech FM, a series of podcasts where we focus on various aspects of the coffee and vending world. Sounds fun, right? Alongside the suppliers, customers and everyone else in between, we'll give a unique look at what we're about and what's truly important in an ever-changing and surprisingly interesting industry. Carbon neutrality refers to achieving net zero carbon dioxide emissions. This can be done by balancing emissions of carbon dioxide with its removal or by eliminating emissions from society. According to The Guardian, at least a fifth of the world's 2,000 largest public companies have now made some kind of net zero pledge to cancel out their carbon emissions. They are investing billions in clean energy, moving to electric vehicles, pledging to halt deforestation. Actor and environmentalist Leonardo DiCaprio says climate change is real, it's happening right now, it's the most urgent threat facing our entire species, and we need to work collectively together and stop procrastinating. If you haven't guessed it already, in today's episode we're taking a look at carbon zero. Have we just jumped on the bandwagon? Refreshment Systems have been a carbon zero company for almost 13 years now. Clearly they haven't. I'm Jamie Cochrane, National Sales Manager at Refreshment Systems, and today we're talking with one of RSL's longest serving employees and, let's face it, a bit of a legend, Head of Engineering Steve Wright, aka Wrighty. Welcome along.
Thank you very much, nice to be here.
Nice to have you. Tell me about Steve Wright.
Well, probably the most important thing for you guys today is it's actually my birthday today, so
happy
birthday.
birthday.
And a good day, thank you very much. I'll expect the cake and the presents in a little while, shall I? But yes, so as you said, long-standing to say the least, long-sitting these days as well, to be fair. I've been here in 12 days' time. I'll have been here 39 years.
Wow.
With Refreshment Systems. So obviously it's quite a long time now. I can see you raised eyebrows there. Yeah.
I was thinking I was about two.
Boy,
I was about two then.
I walked in here shortly after my 16th birthday, and I haven't been able to escape since, to be fair. Started off way back as an apprentice engineer in the workshop, doing the refurbishing and all that sort of thing. Gradually went through the levels and the ranks, as it were, progressing, I think, to my now lofty position as the head of the engineering department.
Yeah.
And basically, as the title suggests, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I look after all things service that are involved with business. Installations, refurbishing, all the field service guys who are fixing machines on a day-to-day basis out there, all come under my wing. But obviously, because I've been here a long time, I get involved in all sorts of things as well, like all different sorts of hats. Yeah. ISO is one of my projects, one of my babies that we've been involved for quite a long time now, and I head up that team.
Yeah. So you're basically an RSL institution.
Yes, I guess so. Some people would say otherwise, but I guess you could describe it as that, Jamie. Yeah.
No, from my experience, you're the go-to person for anything engineering. Anyway, I'm always mithering you for something. I
think it's just one of those things that I have been here for a long time, and most people sort of see me as a bit of a go-to man from a point of view of, if I don't know the answer, there's a good chance I'll know somebody who will.
Yeah.
I think it's more that than as much as anything else, to be fair.
Brilliant. Cool. So what do you do day to day? What's kind of...
Well, it can be anything, really. Today I'm in the workshop preparing machines to go out. Tomorrow I'm going out installing. Friday I've got a management meeting because I'm obviously a part of the management team. So I get involved in all the various projects that come out from that. So I wear lots of different hats depending on what day and what time it is, basically. Yeah. Which I like because it stops you getting too bogged down in the same thing on a day-to-day basis. I probably spend 50% of the time in here and 50% out in the field, and whatever's required, really. I get involved in all sorts of other projects as well. Like I say, part of the ISO team. We do an awful lot of development from a technology point of view, hence the thing we're doing today. And I get involved in all sorts of projects on that front as well. So anything and everything that makes us all tick over, basically, I think, really.
Yeah, cool, good stuff. So when, obviously today's about carbon zero, and obviously being head of engineering, it's not necessarily the first thing you think of to bring into carbon zero, but you were quite heavily involved throughout, really, haven't you, with the carbon zero? So why and how did you get involved? Give us a bit of background to that and kind of talk us through a little bit of the Kenyan Stove project.
Yeah, well, as I just mentioned, I'm part of the ISO team. We've had ISO 9001 since 2005, and then mid 2007 we decided try and achieve the environmental certification, which is 14,001.
Yeah.
And as we were going through that process, we made huge strides forward in reducing our environmental footprint as far as we possibly could. So on the back of that, I started looking around at other things, and the carbon zero thing came a bit out of the blue, really. I was researching other bits and bobs. So it really went hand in hand nicely with what we were doing around that time, around about 2007. As I say, we actually achieved the 9001 standard along with the carbon zero accreditation in 2008.
Yeah.
There are a number of projects that we could have looked at the time, but the one we really liked and ticked a few boxes and we really sort of stood out for us was the Kenyan Store project, which is an energy efficient store project, as it would suggest, where basically we offset our carbon footprint by having the Kenyan stores produced, and they are actually made in Kenya as well. So there's a minimal footprint to the actual production of those as well. And basically we looked at it and thought, yeah, that's the one we really like. We contacted the company we still go hand in hand with now, and so the story began way back then, and we've never really looked back. It's a fabulous project, it really is.
So these stoves, they go in the houses, don't they? And effectively, rather than these big old stoves that use loads of energy.
Yeah, well, they in Kenya, a lot of the poorer people. Kenya's a fabulous place. I was lucky enough to go out there in 2013 to actually have a look at what we were doing. I was told that we were making a real good impact and making some really good progress out there. And I was invited to go and see it for myself, and it was absolutely amazing. Apart from the fact it's an absolutely stunning place.
Yeah.
And it was probably the best place I've ever been, best trip I've ever been on, that's for sure. But it was very humbling and very emotional as well.
Yeah.
Kenya's one of these places where they're haves and the have-nots, but the have-nots virtually have nothing. They don't have much, they have nothing. Yeah. And when we went to visit some of these people who we were about to give stoves to, basically their only source of heating in their houses for cooking and also for keeping warm was three stones sat on the floor in a triangle with a load of sticks and twigs in and amongst them.
Yeah.
And that's what they use for everything. And it was so inefficient from a point of view of they had to go and collect the wood themselves or actually buy it themselves. And the labour intensity of it was just ridiculous. Mostly done by women and children as well, which is again a bit of an eye-opener, to be fair, because these bales of wood weigh an absolute ton when they're bringing them back from the forest. And obviously there's lots of angles to it. The deforestation is a big deal out there, as you could imagine, and chopping trees down just to quite literally take them straight back and burn them is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. But the biggest issue with the stoves being in the houses was the fact that there's a hell of a lot of carbon monoxide coming off them. Yeah. And the death rate is absolutely ridiculous. Purely from that alone, the death rate in Kenya is, for various reasons, is fairly high. But when this is a self-inflicted thing almost, it's really quite frightening. We went out there and had a look and see what was going on, and like I said, the impact that we have on these people's lives on a day-to-day basis is just massive. Yeah.
So it must be heartbreaking to see that obviously we've got it in so many ways so easy over here, and they don't have water in the huts, do they?
No, it is a little bit heartbreaking to see at first until you actually get your head around the fact that they don't know any different. That's just the way they live in the villages and things like that. They're all extremely poor. We complain when our Netflix and Sky goes down and things like that. Proper first world problems with these guys. Like as you say, they have no electricity, no water, no running water. It's actually quite scary, but as I say, they don't know any different. Yeah. And it's really quite humbling. It really is when you see how these people live, and the impact that we had on them was just incredible, really. Yeah.
So and obviously what they had was killing them as well. It was making them ill. It was massive impact on the health as well as the whole lifestyle. Really.
Oh, absolutely. The immediate impact that we have on these people is there's a reduction in 2/3 of sort of wood use, and therefore 2/3 of carbon monoxide inside their houses. And bear in mind, the houses are probably no bigger than the office where I'm sat in now. In fact, in a lot of cases, quite a bit smaller than that. The impact is really quite frightening.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you're delivering, we actually delivered some stuff to some people while we were there in some of the villages, and the reaction that we got from it is just incredible. They see the smile on the faces and the realization that actually, and this is no exaggeration, they actually might get to see their children grow up.
Yeah.
It's really quite scary. But again, so satisfying to see as well.
Yeah, but the brilliant impact that's made, and it's then had a knock-on effect, hasn't it, to not just kind of the potentially living a bit longer or living longer. It's helped the elderly. It's all. I think some families have even been able to start their own businesses because it's freed up so much more time for them to make a bit more money doing other things rather than just literally collecting wood all day and cooking all day.
Yeah, that's right. There's lots of spin-offs from this. I mean, like I say, for whatever reason, the men folk go out to work, and whilst they're at work, the ladies are working even harder, going chopping trees down and things like that. So, and we saw a number of ladies groups who because of the impact on their time that they'd had, like you say, set up their own little cottage industries amongst themselves, and weaving baskets and mats and all sorts of things like that to sell at the markets is one of the huge impacts that's had on their lives. So it's not just the time, it's the actual financial benefit as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It really is.
It's great. It's really great.
So is it just a tagline? Does it make a difference?
Well, no, absolutely, it makes a difference. Well, I've already mentioned the differences to people's lives.
Yeah.
We don't just do this for a tick in the box. We're actually living it and we're breathing it, and it's real. The impacts and the differences we've already mentioned are absolutely huge. And I suppose, if you think about the financial contribution we've made to this project over the years, we could have stopped at any time, and probably never more so than now. But in reality, it's something we believe in. It's something we've thrown ourselves into for however many years it's been now. Yeah. And it's something we really believe in. I was lucky enough to see it for myself. Potentially other people could do the same. That would be nice to take some more people out there to see what we're actually doing. But no, it's not just because it looks good on our website or on our letterheads or anything like that. This is real. This is real impact.
Yeah.
And not just on those people, but the global environmental picture as well. I guess in the grand scheme of things, we're a drop in the ocean when it comes to some things, but it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good that we're doing our bit, and I suppose you can only do as much as you can do, and we feel we are doing that at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant. And for me, I mean, I look at it, and when I came to RSL, one of the things that I kind of thought about the Kenyan Stove project is it's one of those projects that's actually, if you've got anyone that's a climate change denier or anything like that, it's still doing lots of good. So it's not like it's just something to offset carbon footprint. It's brilliant that it does. It makes us carbon zero, but then at the same time, it does so much more than that, and I love that about it. Yeah,
as I said before, there are a number of projects that people can get involved in. Some have more impact than others, but yeah, it is something that we really believe in.
Yeah.
Carbon zero. The doubters would say, it's a play on words, and to a certain extent, it is, because nobody is carbon zero. It's kind of impossible to be that. One of our biggest impacts on the environment is the mileage that we cover every day in all our company vehicles.
Yeah.
And you could argue that from being a successful company to being an even more successful company, we want our vehicles to cover even more miles to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But we recognise that fact, and that's a thing that most people would miss, is you've got to see it and then act on it. And we believe we're doing that, and we're doing it on a day-to-day basis. It's not just a one-off thing that we think about every year when it comes around.
Yeah.
As part of the environmental standards that we have, the 14,001, we've put a lot of things into place over the years that actually run through the entire business and every department of the business on a day-to-day basis. So, we impact ourselves on a regular basis here throughout the country, and we've got this offset program out there as well. So it's huge, really. It's not just a faddy thing. It's not something that we go, yeah, we've been in that now, but let's do something else. Yeah. As I said, 2008 is a long time ago now, and the differences we make to people's lives just massive. Yeah. It's a great project, and it really feels good.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it's awesome. So I wrote down a few stats, kind of, or bits that we kind of talk to with customers from a sales perspective, that on top of Can You Store project, what RSL do. So you use zero VOC paints in the refurbishment workshop. We're proactive in waste ground coffee and cup schemes. We use telemetry activation on all machines, which reduces operational footprint by approximately 30%. We only offer A+ energy ratings, rated vending machines with a portfolio of solutions now when we're proposing new customers. We actively promote Keep Cup initiatives whilst encouraging our customers to embark on the journey with us. It is something that we really get involved with beyond the Can You Store project. It's not just something that we just tick a box with something that we're doing. It's a great thing that we're doing, but we're not just stopping there. We know that there's way more to it than that.
There's many facets to this project, the whole environmental project, carbon zero aside.
Yeah.
And some things are what we're bringing in and what we want to go forward with ourselves, and the improvements we've made. Some things are enforced on us, but that's absolutely fine. Evolution works that way. Yeah. Electric cars and things like that are going to be the future, and we will go that way. It's not something, this is not new to Refreshment Systems. This is something we want to go with across the country and across the world. We do our bit all over the place and all over the country with the stuff that we do, but like I say, everybody's getting switched onto it as well. So it's not just Refreshment Systems jumping on this bandwagon of let's all be environmentally friendly as we can. I'm while I'm into this, I certainly won't class myself as some environmental activist or anything. I'm not a tree hugger or anything like that. It's just something that I believe in, and it's something that as a culture within our company, that's what we want to go forward with.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. Thank you, Steve. It's been good chatting with you. Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
Are you playing golf to celebrate? Is that right?
I am indeed.
Yeah.
Badly probably again, but there you go.
Brilliant. So former Archbishop Desmond Tutu said, 25 years ago, people could be excused for not knowing much or doing much about climate change. Today, we have no excuse. I personally am proud to work for a company that has such a focus on it. It's clearly more than just a box ticking exercises. There's way more to it than that. We don't make excuses, and we really are doing our bit. There's always something more we can do, and that seems to be kind of a running theme here, that we do try and look for more. It's not just a case of settling in on Can You Store projects and leaving it there. It's way more than that. If you want to find out more about what we discussed today, please check us out on our website, refreshmentsystems.co.uk, or find us on the socials. And remember, we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. We're at a tipping point, and we can all make that little bit of change. Thanks for listening. This podcast has been brought to you by Refreshment Systems Limited, edited by Isaac Dunyo and Evan Church, produced by Steve May, host and writer Jamie Cochrane, with special thanks to our guests.